welcome to round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul. We're here at Wakefield Park, Goulburn, 90 kilometres northeast of Canberra. I'm Rihanna Crean, thanks for joining me. Alongside me, the 2009 World Endurance Champion, Steve Martin, and a very good afternoon to our viewers from New Zealand for the very first time watching the Australian Superbike coverage. Steve, last time we were at Winton Motor Raceway, very different conditions, but very fast lap times. What did we learn from Winton?
Oh, it was just sensational. What we learnt was everybody was hot to trot, everybody was keen to ride, and they were fast, super fast. We saw records falling in all classes, and something we didn't expect to see, so it was just sensational.
But once again, it was the guys up the front, Wayne Maxwell, Troy Herfoss, battling it out.
Yeah, it was. Those two guys are just sensational. I mean, everywhere we go for the last few years, it's been Herfoss or Maxwell, Maxwell or Herfoss. Somebody's got to do something about it, and I hope it happens here.
Now, a surprise for me was young Ollie Bayless. What did you think of him?
You know what, it's really hard to ride a superbike. A 300, you know, not so hard. A 600, a little bit harder, but these superbikes, you can't just get on them and ride them. You've got to set them up, you've got to know what you want to make them go fast. He shouldn't be able to do that, but he's already got it dialed, so he's already ahead of the learning curve. I can't wait to see him, if not at this meeting, in a couple of meetings, what he's going to be doing. He's in for a podium this year for sure.
Now, another surprise, I believe, was Arthur CC. Sort of went under the radar at Winton, but currently sitting 4th in the championship. What did you think of him?
Well, Arthur's just one of those guys. He's, you know, he's got MotoGP pedigree. You probably don't remember or can't think about it, but in the end, he's been in this championship for a couple of years. Started off as a privateer, building his way up. He hasn't had a good bike. This year, he's come with the right package, and it's made a difference. He's up there and he's in for the fight. If you know Arthur, he doesn't want to stop.
Now, I believe you caught up with him earlier in the weekend. Very much looking forward to that chat you had with Arthur CC's. Let's have a look at the championship points after our first weekend out at Winton Motor Raceway, and it is, of course, Wayne Maxwell who sits at the top of the sheets in 45 points. Mike Jones there in second on 38 points. Troy Herfoss sitting there in third. Was really hurt with that issue he had in race 1. Arthur CC, who spoke to him, in 4th. Glenn Allerton in 5th. Ollie Bayless there in 6th. Crew Halliday, Jed Betcher, Brian Starring and Josh Waters rounding out the 10. Steve Martin, it is awesome to have people, fans, crowd. We look over at the hill, there's cars everywhere. This is fantastic.
Oh, look, this is fabulous. I mean, people are out and about. It's what we want to see here in Australia, and especially here at Wakefield Park. We've been really supported, and to have all the people up there with their barbecues coming here. We've got all the riders in pit lanes signing autographs. Just fantastic to see. The sport deserves it, and everyone here is having a good day.
And of course, the sun is finally out. We were greeted with sort of foggy skies this morning, but it's absolutely spectacular. What was spectacular was qualifying yesterday. Times were absolutely on fire, and it was Boost Mobile K-Tech Suspensions, Wayne Maxwell, who took out the Elite Roads pole position, dipping into the 56s, Steve.
Yeah, 56.9 for Maxwell, but not the first time that a bike's ever done that around this circuit, because the BMW did it before qualifying. 4 guys in the 56s, which means it's going to be really close this weekend.
Now, Steve, you didn't quite do a 56, but you took us for a tour around this Wakefield Park circuit, so let's take a look.
And here we go. Just get down behind the screen, hard on the gas as you get onto the short straight here at the Wakefield Park circuit. It doesn't look very far into turn 1, and it's not. You have to be on the brakes nice and hard. Clip the inside there as we head into Motul corner, down through the gearbox. It's important to be super smooth. On the gas, on the edge of the tyre through there. The bike can get a little bit edgy as you change up to 3rd gear. Hard on the brakes into Dunlop. Bumpy through here, really bumpy. You've got to hold it all together. This is one of the most physical circuits that we go to throughout the year. The top of the circuit now, Ducati corner. On the gas, nice and smooth. Down the hill you go. This sweeper, really important to keep the mid-corner speed up. Drive through and down into the famous fish hook. Plenty of overtaking opportunities down here, but it's easy to get it so wrong. There'll be plenty of overtaking here in the races, you can be sure of that. Smooth on the gas, keep it in the same gear, onto the back straight we go, and it is rough through here too. Plenty of people don't get it right. This is your last corner, turn 10 here at Wakefield Park Circuit. Hard on the brakes, and your last opportunity to pass and get out and get a clean run onto that start-finish straight. Tuck in and rev it all the way to the limiter, lift the wheel in the air and get across that line nice and clean.
Glenn Allerton, 3 times Australian Superbike champion. We're here at a scene of a racetrack that's been quite bittersweet to you. Take us back to 2017.
Yeah, back at the ASBK round here in 2017, at the time I was riding the Team Yamaha, and it was a mixed session where we knew the rain was coming and I was pushing really hard from the start of the session to get a good time down, and unfortunately I got to the last corner and the track was wet and I was at full speed and still tried to make the corner and ended up having a big high side and came down really hard on my left arm and broke my arm in 2 places. And I was very lucky that I didn't do more damage because of, you know, the way that bone was broken. I had to have a plate and 12 screws put in. So, and that was kind of the trigger of a 3-year run where I was injured, and yeah, it was a difficult time.
Then we sort of moved forward, and I hate to sort of focus on the crashes and the injuries, but then there was another big accident at the bend, which was also put you out.
Yeah,
for
so
a period of time.
I had a few big accidents. I had one on a dirt bike where I broke my neck and my collarbone, and I've got a plate and 10 screws in this collarbone here as well. And then at the bend there was an accident in front of me that I just couldn't avoid off the start. 2 guys came together in front of me and I was on the outside, and Ollie Bayless's bike just went straight underneath my front wheel, and I went straight away. I was over the handlebars and I broke my wrist, and that put me back. It was just continually being put back. And to me, I think, well, actually COVID-19 worked out all right for me because it gave me a chance for my body to heal.
That period that you spoke of, the 3 years of having to try get your body right, but then try to be quick on the bike, and maybe things weren't going as planned on the bike. I mean, just talk me through how you got motivation to get yourself back on the bike time and time again. Yeah,
it takes a lot of self-belief. At the point in time when I broke my arm, I'd invested a lot into myself. Yeah, like I said, I was riding for Yamaha, but I was going to as many ride days as I could. I was travelling to Phillip Island, and I was spending my own money and making sure that I was prepared the best that I could be. And I know that at that point in time I was clearly, you know, in my mind I was the best rider in the country, and I was going to put together a really good year. Knowing that I had that form, I was continually trying to get myself back to that point, and I still just had that self-belief that if I get it right, with the right bike underneath me, that I can win races again and win a championship, because nobody's done 4 championships in Australia. And yeah, it's been a goal of ours, especially me with the next gen boys, that we've always, you know, we joke around and say we're going to get 4, but it's a real goal for me to achieve 4 championships. What would that mean, 4 championships? No one has done it. There's a couple of you on 3, but yeah. 4. What does it mean? Do you dream about it? Yeah, look, I think I'm pretty unlucky to not have it. I've been second like 3 times, and I've been in the top 3 maybe another 3 or 4 times, and it would be awesome to have, you know, to clearly step on top of that, you know, above. I think there's like 3 or 4 of us that have 3 now, so to separate yourself would be great. I just am starting to enjoy the process of racing. I think you take it for granted when you're young, but as I've gotten older and I've just recently turned 40, I'm really enjoying the process of getting myself ready, setting up the bike, working with the team, working with the guys, and just I'm enjoying my racing.
Well, we're getting ready to go racing. You can see there Wayne Maxwell. You can almost feel the nerves coming out the bottom of his helmet there. We're about to fire the opening salvos in the war of Wakefield. Alpinestars Superbike class is ready to go racing. Superbikes are go. Great start from Lachlan Evans on the second row of the grid as well. But I think Maxwell should lead as they head down in towards turn 1 for the first time. He does. Herfoss is back there in 3rd position. Mike Jones has got away well and sits in 2nd position as they start the long run up the hill. Yeah, Mike Jones got a great start there. Herfoss is up there too. Looks like Herfoss has slipped himself by already, and it is number 1, Wayne Maxwell, last year's champion, with Troy Herfoss right behind him. Looks like Glenn Allerton's got the bike away well off the line. That was his first thing that he needed to do. He's right onto the back now of the 3-time Australian champion Brian Starring on board BC Performance Machine bike number 67, but it is still Maxwell that leads. Herfoss is already up into 2nd place. He's made his intentions quite clear, and Mike Jones is now back to 3rd. Eppa still holding on to 4th. Yeah, it's a good result from Eppa, says the number 61 as well, but the race direction again, the start is under investigation. We will bring the news to you when it comes, but this could change everything. Drew Halliday got away well. He's sitting in 5th position. He's got to try and find a way past Lachlan Eppas early on if he wants to go with these riders and see a possible chance of getting up there onto that podium as they come across the line. A 1 minute flat from a standing start for Wayne Maxwell. Be interesting to see how fast they or how fast and consistent they can do these early laps. Looks like Ollie Bayless already starting to move around. He's desperate to try and get the run up the hill.
You've got to try everything you can in these early laps. You can't afford to let those leaders get away. It's just so tight around here. You've just got to try and hold it together. Brian Starring up there too. Good start by him. He'll need a couple of laps for those Dunlops to come in, but when they do, I tell you what, they keep their pace towards the end of the race.
Immense amount of pressure being put onto the back of young Lachlan Epps now by Crew Halliday, Brian Starring and Glenn Allerton at the top of the hill there. You can see Epps just ran a fraction wide. Look at them all queuing up. Ollie Bayless on the back of them as well. Matt Walters and Josh Waters inside the top 10 as we come round to complete this second lap as well. There goes Crew Halliday sailing up the inside of Lachlan Epps. How deep and late was Crew Halliday on the brakes there? No worries about his fitness here today.
Absolutely not. That was a great move by him. He'll be hoping that he can hold the speed of that BMW off by the end of the straight, and he does.
You can see Hamish McMurray's supporters there, all with the top hats on pit wall, watching their man, who's currently sitting just outside the top 20.
Yeah, poor old Ollie Bayless there. He's caught behind that group of 4 guys. It's going to be a struggle for him. One thing, he hasn't got a lot of experience in is like overtaking, but we do know his strength is towards the end of the race. From the short time that he spent on the Superbike, he gets faster and faster every lap, so hopefully that can play in his favour.
Well, just think of the amount of Australian championships in that little group of riders just in front of Ollie Bayless, not even taking into consideration the championships that have been won by these 3 out front. All of them are multiple-time Australian Superbike champions as they make their way down into Yamaha Revs hard corner now and drive out onto the start-finish straight, coming round to complete lap 3 of this 20-lap journey.
Wayne Maxwell gets the lap record with the fastest ever lap around this circuit, quicker than qualifying, 56.787. That is flying.
Yeah, 56.916 was the fastest lap in qualifying and practice on Friday. So 56.787, to give you an idea, that's only 0.6 of a second faster than the old lap record that was set last year by Glenn Allerton on board the Maxima BMW of a 57.389.
Yeah, well, 0.6 of a second around this short circuit's like 1.5 seconds at a long circuit. It looks like Lachlan Epps could be done for a jump. They're looking at that at the moment, so we'll let you know. Yes, he gets a 10-second penalty, and Ollie Bayless is coming into the pits.
Well, not sure what's the matter with Ollie Bayless's machine. Hopefully Rowner can get down there to the Desmo Sport Ducati pit area. But there it is, confirmed, bike number 83. I did mention he got a cracking start, Steve Martin. Unfortunately, that was a fraction too cracking.
That's right. But back out front, Wayne Maxwell knows how to start. That was a really brilliant job by him. He cracked off the start, and he is just absolutely flying.
Mike Jones is into the 56s as well. I think that might be his first 56 for the weekend as well. Mike Jones on board the Desmo Sport Ducati bike number 46. He's going with these lead group of riders in 3rd position.
This is a really good start for Mike Jones, actually. Normally, he struggles at the start, and he has to sort of like try and work his way back. But this time out, he's been there from the start.
Yeah, Brian Starring and Glenn Allerton now trying to find their way past Lachlan Epps. Starring using all of his experience to come down the inside there. He runs a fraction wide. Epps goes back through. Glenn Allerton had to take evasive action to avoid his teammate there as well at the bottom of the hill. He was running in so fast. Herfoss has put in a blinding lap. This is going to be a fast one from Herfoss. He's closed right up onto the back of Maxwell, who had a half-second lead as they completed the last lap. And Herfoss now on the Penrite Honda is right there in position, because remember, we've not only got the battle between the riders and the manufacturers, we've also got the battle in the tyres. We've spoken about how important that is. Maxwell on Pirellis, Jones on Pirellis, and Herfoss, he is the Michelin meat in the Pirelli sandwich.
Yeah, well, he's just caught right up to the back of him now, has Troy Herfoss. He's done exactly what he needed to do. Maxwell's gone out hard from the start, broke the pack up, and now he's just dropped back into the 57s, and Herfoss is right on the back wheel. It's going to be interesting to see if Herfoss wants to make that move and see if he can stretch it out.
Well, I don't have enough fingers and toes, Steve, to count the amount of times that those riders have made a pass right there where Brian Starring's done it. He's done it again. He's gone in late. He's gone in deep. He's got past them, but unfortunately ran a fraction wide. And both Lachlan Epps and Glenn Allerton have managed to find their way past. Matt Walters has also managed to get away from Josh Waters as well, who slipped right back down to 16th position. So Ed West up inside the top 10 too, in position number 9, ahead of Mark Chiedo on board bike number 2, who rounds out the current top 10, with Jed Metcher and Arthur Cece's, who didn't get his traditional fast start, back in 10th and 11th position.
Yeah, it's really hard to get a good start here if you're back in the pack, because it just does bottleneck down, like they said. Super, super important to be on the first 2 rows.
So Allerton has finally managed to get past his Maxima teammate. Lachlan Epris on board bike number 83. Brian Starring, you know he's going to have another run at the bottom of the hill as well. As they come down through the Ducati corner now, they'll wind their way down through Dane East to get to the bottom of the hill at Alpinestars. A favourite overtaking place of both Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss. The current lead for Wayne Maxwell is 0.2 of a second. That's effectively nothing as they come round to complete these 7 laps of the 20-lap journey.
Yeah, definitely a big gap now to Crew Halliday. It's going to be difficult for Glenn Allen. Oh, up the inside. That's a big move by the Kawasaki man, Brian Starring, but he manages to pull it off. The BMW's got the drive, though. Remember, Lachlan Epis is going to finish 10 seconds back from where he is, but the speed of the Kawasaki down the straight is, as it always is, fast.
Yeah, well, they've finally managed to do some modifications to the engine within the ASBK rules, have BC Performance. They raced at the first round with a completely standard motorcycle.
Here we go.
Look at this manoeuvre from Brian Starring. We saw it at the last round last year, how confident he was there. Remember, it was a move at that exact corner that got him up onto the podium in the final race of the weekend, and he's managed to replicate that to move up one position now. We said we hopefully can find out what happened to Ollie Bayless. He's with Rihanna.
Oh, I'm really disappointed. Ollie Bayless just sitting here in the pit garages. Ollie, have you got some information about why your bike's in the garage?
Yeah, I mean, we had a pretty good race start. I think we were sitting in 7th place, and I was sticking with the group pretty easy. Unfortunately, we came into the last turn and the bike cut out, so hopefully we can get all that sorted in the lunch break and get out for the second one.
Yeah, tough way to start the day. Thanks for the info.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks very much, Rihanna, and great to hear from Ollie Bayless, who's obviously disappointed, but still takes the time to let the fans know exactly what's happened, and fingers crossed that Ben Troy and the crew can get that bike back there, out there on the grid, because he certainly is a rider that plenty of people want to watch.
Always a super tricky one, though, to try and find an electrical gremlin, because you never can be sure that you've found it. You think you've found it, and it may come back, but let's hope, like you say, they do sort that out, or they can move on to their other bike and have a good race next time out.
Just watching Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss, both of them look like they have these bikes on rails at the moment, despite the fact that they are lapping around this circuit consistently in this race, as Herfoss did at the last round, 0.2 of a second under the old lap record. They have not in this race, as far as I can looking at our timing monitor, Steve, actually been over the old lap record on any lap so far, and we are coming round halfway round the 10th lap. We're half race distance. Yeah,
I mean, the smartest thing for those two guys, as we look at a gaggle of riders, there's Jed Metcher in there, there's a whole bunch of different guys in that group, Ant West, Mark Kyoto's in there too. Arthur Ceases is making his way through that pack too. But and there's Emily Herfoss. She's looking a little bit nervous. Baby's having a sleep.
How can that baby sleep with all of the action that's going out on track?
If I put earmuffs and gave you a dummy, you'd be asleep too.
Probably would. Let's have a look at that battle there. Mark Kyoto has got a fair bit of attention coming from Arthur Ceases, but what about the rider on the back of that
Arthur's run off there. Yep. Can he pull it up? There's, he's going to have to... He's dropped it. Arthur. Unfortunately there, you could just see he got on the brakes aggressive and bottomed out, lifted the back wheel up. He had to let the brakes off. He ran out of room.
Very bumpy, that corner too. It makes braking, or late braking as late as they are there, so very difficult. Makes it even more impressive what Brian Starring was able to do a couple of laps ago. Let's have a look at the replay. You can see Arthur come up the inside, the back wheel off the ground multiple times. Just, you can't turn the bike into the corner when the back wheel is off the ground.
Well, not when you let it go, then like stab it, let it go, stab it, let it go. If you'd have stabbed it and let it come out, he might have had a chance. Do you know what I mean?
But I know who's that. Someone else is down. That looks like could be Hamish McMurray, is it? Can't quite see what the number is on that bike. Herfoss starting to have a bit of a look up the inside there at the bottom of Alpinestars. One of his favourite overtaking manoeuvres. Maxwell starting to get the back end, starting to move around a little bit as well.
Well, if Maxwell's smart, he'll have... Oh, look at Herfoss now. Herfoss has got to drive. Looks up the inside. He can't do it yet, but I'm pretty sure that Herfoss is feeling pretty comfortable there at the moment. If Maxwell is smart, he will be holding a little bit back now. He really will. He can't show Herfoss what he's got, but it's difficult to do that at this pace. I mean, boy, 57.7 last time through for Wayne Maxwell. The thing is has he backed it off? You can just see now, like he's lost half a second a lap, and Herfoss is up the inside now. Herfoss is all over him.
Yeah, Herfoss wasn't able to put a move on there at Motul corner because there were yellow flags which stopped him. He had a bit of a look at the top of the hill now. Is he going to try at the bottom of Alpinestars and put the pressure on Wayne Maxwell? We saw it here last year. Maxwell would try and slow the pace up. Herfoss would try and get in front and then pull away. Has a bit of a look up the inside. Maxwell just runs in there so deep that Herfoss can't get past. That was Hamish McMurray that crashed at turn 1 on board bike number 33.
There's Luke Johnson in that group too now. He's having a good race, Dyson, with Jeb Metcher and Mark Kyoto there.
There's Herfoss up the inside. No, can't quite get the job done. Maxwell just runs in a little bit deeper at the final corner. That's Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner.
It's
Out
just
onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start finish straight now. Oh no, there's another bike down. That looks like it could be, is that bike number 62? Is that Brendan McIntyre?
Oh, it looks like a big one. Let's hope that the rider's okay.
You can see moving there, the marshal has moved over. We've got a red flag stoppage on lap 14 of the 20-lap race.
Wow.
So this is going to make a very interesting conclusion to this race.
Just saw there, Maxwell looks over his shoulder to see where Herfoss was, and his visor nearly hit Herfoss's screen. That's how close he was. Race declared.
Race has been declared because we were getting about the three-quarters race distance. So the race has been declared. The big question now, Steve, will be, do they decide to go full points, or will it be slightly less than full points? We'll wait for race direction to provide that information.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, what a race that was. It was an incredible race. Herfoss, at that point in the race, was ready to rock and roll. He was ready to go. So that was the issue that we had there. Like, in the first part of the race, Maxwell was going to win, and that's why Maxwell was in front. But then in the last, 2 laps before the stoppage, Herfoss started to feel that he had grip, and bang, he was going to go, but he never got the opportunity. You can imagine the emotion that they've got at the moment. Like, Herfoss is never going to be happy right now. He's never going to be happy.
Good job. We didn't get the race yet. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean.
That's not me, I'm your mate.
Yeah, I know, I was just saying. It's fucking amateur the way they do it.
Oh, the lap is
who out of us two, they're going to pull the gloves off, 10 to go. You know what I mean? Like,
not me,
you know what I mean? If you're following me, it's a bit
We should, we've got to go see race control. They have to fully get out of the way.
I know, it was bullshit. And then
You can see that they're definitely not happy.
I think for once they're both in agreement. Time to hear from our top three. They're down in Park for Main.
In third place from Desmo Sport Ducati, Mike Jones. Mike, nothing like starting the day with a little bit of drama.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a pretty crazy race there with a few incidents towards the end there. So, fortunately, my race started really well. I got away really well there and was able to run with the front two guys. Unfortunately, made a couple of small mistakes there in the middle and ended up sort of dropping off a bit there, but was still holding a consistent pace. So, I feel like if the race had kept going, it would have been interesting to see if we would have been able to claw that gap back again with the tyre wear. So anyway, we're in a good position and looking forward to the next race.
Plenty learnt from that one. I look forward to seeing what happens this afternoon. Congratulations, Mike Jones, in second place on the Penrite Honda. The conversation continues between yourself and Wayne Maxwell, and of course we all want to know what's been going on between you guys. What are you talking about?
I'd love to say it was something that'll make you watch the TV more, but it's not. Just the fact that we've got to stop racing when the race hadn't essentially started for us yet. We're both old enough to know when to go and when to stop, and I could tell Wayne was sort of in a bit of a groove there, and yeah, I felt like it could have been a race. It could have been anyone's race. So, but it's my fault for not leading the race when we were past 2/3 distance, and yeah, credit to Wayne. He done a great job. We were going really fast at the start. That was fun and scary, and yeah, I hope everyone's okay from the crashes.
Do you feel like if the race had gone full distance, you would have had it?
Yes, I do. Yeah, but he does as well. We both always think we're going to win it, don't we? Like, and that's nothing personal against Wayne. I just, I was, how can I say I wasn't going to have a go at winning because I was right there. So, but you never know. Wayne's Wayne's sheepish. Maybe he's going to pull the pin and do 6.5 at the end. Who knows? He's done that before. So, but I reckon we'll find out in the next race.
We love the games. Congratulations, Troy Herfoss, and taking out the victory for the first race of the day, the Boost Mobile K-Tech suspension. Wayne Maxwell, Wayne, we love it. We love the gamesmanship. We love the fighting. We love the battles. But congratulations, another victory.
Yeah, unbelievable. I wasn't even reading my board. I was reading Troy's board, and then I thought I had a 2-second gap, and yeah, it was just a bit of a mess. The lap traffic wasn't doing us any real favours, and I was like, I've got a gap. I'll just be patient. But yeah, it's not ideal, and obviously with people crashing and stuff, it makes it difficult. Yellow flag. It's going to pass the lap on the yellow flag or not, but. Look, one down. Full credit to everyone at Boost Mobile racing with K-Tech. Pirelli, it's that battle between not only a rival between Troy and myself, it's between the tyre brands as well. Everyone's invested in it, and it's a good thing to be a part of for us.
Tell you what, when you go back to your garage, go have a look at the lap time you set, because it was pretty fast on fire. Absolutely. Congratulations to Wayne Maxwell. Victory in race 1 of the Alpinestars Superbike. Now time to turn our attention back to our commentary team with Phil Harlan.
Thanks very much, Rihanna. Great to see Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss speak so well there in Park May about what they happened, and I know that they both think that they were going to win the races. Plenty more action coming up here at Wakefield Park. Coming up next.
It's not very often you get to talk to someone of the calibre of this guy who's been places that you probably don't know he's been. Today, we're going to find out how Arthur CC's is sitting here in this seat right now. Arthur, welcome to Wakefield Park. It's been a long road for you to get here, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit different to where I've been, but no, it's good. It's good to be in the Australian Superbikes.
But you started literally in Speedway when you were a youngster.
Yeah, I've always ridden motorbikes since I was a kid, and one of our friends had a Speedway bike, and we went to a race, and I liked it, and my dad bought me a Speedway bike, and yeah, I was pretty good at it. So.
Yeah, but to get from Speedway to road racing, there's got to be some sort of story about that, because you didn't just start here in the Australian paddock, you headed overseas, but there's a little bit of a backstory to that.
Yeah, I was actually racing the World Speedway Junior Championships in Europe in 2008, and I was too young to race a road bike here in Australia. So I applied for the Rookies Cup on the internet without my dad and mum knowing, because I'd never ridden a road bike before.
So hang on, you've applied to race in the Red Bull Rookies Cup without your mum and dad knowing. How did that work out? Were they happy with that?
I asked them, because I saw it in a magazine, and they said you're stupid because you've never ridden a road bike before, and so I didn't listen to them. I applied on the internet, and they emailed us a few months later while I was in Europe for the World Junior Speedway Championship, and they said I got accepted and that I could go to a test in Italy. So my dad said if I finished in the top 3 in the World Junior Championship, he'd take me, and I finished 3rd, so he had to take me.
Push forward a few years and you're riding Yamaha this year in the new Unitech team. A lot of South Australian support. You're a South Australian. What does it mean to you to be here now on this team, especially after the results that you had in Winton?
Yeah, I've been in the Aussie, riding a Suzuki for the last few years, and we didn't have much support. But it was okay, but then this year I really needed to, it was either do something good or stop pretty much, because there's no point finishing 10th every meeting, and we got help from Mal Pittman. He got us help from Yamaha, and yeah, so far Winton was quite good, I think.
Well, one thing's for sure, keep an eye on this guy, because off the start he's fast, and he's getting faster throughout the races too. Thanks a lot, Arthur.
Thank you.
Well, the war of Wakefield is about to come to a conclusion. Who will take victory? Wayne Maxwell's won one battle. Who will win the second battle and take victory overall? Alpinestars Superbikes are ready to go racing for the final time. Superbikes are go. Good start once again from Lachlan Epps. Looked like a good start too. two from Yanni Shaw as they make their way down towards turn 1. It is Mad Mike Jones on bike number 46 that takes the lead on the Desmo Sport Ducati. He will lead them up the hill for the first time. Maxwell's got a tight line. Can he come back on the inside? No, he can't. It is Jones that leads as they get to Dunlop.
That is exactly what Jones wanted. He needs to get in front. He needs to slow these two guys down, close the pack up a bit, put a bit of pressure on Herfoss and Maxwell, and that's exactly what he's done. He will be very, very happy with that start.
Tell you who else is very, very happy is Crew Halliday. He's got a cracking start. He's in 4th position and he's right on the back of Troy Herfoss's Penrite Honda CBR 1000 RRR as they make their way through Alpinestars for the first time. Allerton has also got a cracking start. That's him in 5th position. He's right up there on the back of Crew Halliday. These two have had plenty of close comings together, not only here and not only this year. They don't particularly want to finish behind each other either.
No, absolutely. That's good news for Allerton. He's got a lot less work to do. If you remember, he had to get past Lachlan Epps and also Brian Starring in race 1. He's already in front of them, so let's hope that he can stay with the front guys. He has got the pace.
Maxwell already passed and up into the race lead ahead of Mike Jones. So it is the Boost Mobile Racing with K-Tech Ducati ahead of the Desmo Sport Ducati and the Penrite Honda CBR 1000. Then we've got the Yamaha YZF R1M of Crew Halliday. Then it's the BMW S1000RR of Glenn Allerton right behind, and Lachlan Epps on the second of the Maxima BMWs in 6th position. The first of the Kawasaki ZX-10Rs. The brand new double R model is Brian Starring in 7th place. Ollie Bayless is away in 8th. Arthur's up to 9th place, and Josh Waters on the second of the BC Performance Kawasaki's rounds out the top 10.
One thing that we know, that Maxwell is so strong on the front end, and that's where I reckon he would have got Jones into the first Motul corner. He would have just dove up the inside. He is so strong, so much confidence in that front end. Let's see what Jones does this time round. He should be able to get the drive in the car.
Well, it's the two Pirelli shod machines that lead at the moment from the Michelin shod Honda. So we make our way down into Motul corner. And you described it before, Steve, when we saw the track preview this morning, that corner at the bottom of the hill there, turn 2, is one of the most important on this track. And we're getting towards the area where Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss go to their favourite overtaking manoeuvres, late and deep on the brakes at the bottom of Alpinestars. But it's a bit early in the race, as you said at Winton, to start showing everybody all of your cards.
Well, right here, right now, with a bit of a buffer, I think that Maxwell's going to go for it. He's going to push the pace and try and keep Jones between himself and Herfoss. Herfoss there in 3rd spot will be looking for a wave past at any second. Looks up the inside now. He can't do it. Jones is too good on the brakes.
I was going to say, do you think Herfoss will take a lap or two to wait? I don't think he's going to wait at all. He looks like he's desperate to try and get past Mike Jones.
It's a little bit different tyre strategy as well. Of course, the Michelin tyre, it takes 2 or 3 laps to get going, if you know what I mean. Like, if you push it too hard, there is a chance that, you might make a mistake. So I think that Herfoss is, in a bit of a hard spot at the moment. If he can hang there, he will. Let everything settle in, and then later on in the race, we'll see him go.
Well, we've got Marchiato. Looks like he's come off track on board bike number 2. Looks like he should be able to get that bike up and going. Herfoss might even be happy just to sit there as long as the gap to Maxwell is so small between Maxwell and Mike Jones. But as soon as Jones starts to lose touch with the Boost Mobile Racing with K-Tech Ducati, that might be a different story.
You're assuming he's going to lose touch. He's right there after 3 laps at the moment. He's doing a really, really good job as Mike Jones. This is the weak part of his race. He can never stay with him in the start, but he's found something. He's doing it this time out.
Well, 56.966 for Maxwell, the fastest lap of the race so far. There's a replay of Marchiato. Once again, the Motul corner has caused someone to slip off the circuit.
A little bit of a tricky situation for Wayne Maxwell as well, because he does lead the championship. If he finished in 3rd, it'd be a pretty safe 3rd. What does he do? How hard does he push it? Back marker there, that could have been Marchiato just making his way back round.
Crew Halliday and Glenn Allerton still at each other's throats in 4th and 5th position. Lachlan Epps and Brian Starring not too far behind them either. You can see them just come into the shot there as they make their way out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. But look at the gap that these top 3 have opened up over the battle between Crew Halliday and Glenn Allerton. And Jones, pointed out, doing a sensational job to stay with Maxwell.
Look at the drive that Herfoss got just then. That was sensational drive.
Josh Waters, unfortunately, back into the pits on board bike number 21. They've been having electrical problems with that machine all weekend.
Looks like it's pushing into the corner or something. Not happy with that for him, but let's hope they can get a little bit more testing under the belt and sort that thing out.
Let's keep an eye on Herfoss, and if he's tries to make a move past Jones, coming up to one of his favourite. Oh, Jones just a little bit out of the seat there. I think he was keen to get on the throttle. He could hear the Penrite Honda right behind him.
Jones was wide there too.
They make their way down into Yamaha Rev's Hart corner now and out onto the straight we come. Let's watch Herfoss. He was strong at the end of the straight through Motul corner and the drive up the hill. What has he got for us? I'm still trying to get used to Troy Herfoss having a bright helmet. He's for years preferred the more stealth black helmet, but you certainly won't miss him with that one.
No, there's nothing about stealth and Herfoss this year.
But we saw Josh Waters in the pits. Let's go down for an update from Rihanna.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. I'm pretty frustrated. Josh Waters. Josh, can you give us an update? What's going on?
In the first race, the bike stopped. That's why I was so far back and wouldn't turn back on for 15 seconds. So I've had to ride the other bike, and it's all electronics.
You can tell he's pretty frustrated. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate the update.
As we mentioned, a brand new bike, brand new electronics package. They're still trying to get their head around it. No one else has been racing anywhere in the world with that bike as yet, so we're breaking ground here in Australia, and unfortunately it's very frustrating for the BC Performance team at the moment.
Yeah, well, you got to do the work, and that looks like they've got a little bit of work to do. But meanwhile, the man doing the work out the front is Wayne Maxwell, and I reckon he's like holding this pace at the moment quite well. 57.1 that time through. It's a very consistent race, and he's, if anything, at this part of the circuit, he pulls a little bit of a gap on Mike Jones.
Well, as we saw earlier on, all of the laps so far have been low 57s or high 56s, which is under the old lap record pace. Remember, the lap record coming into this weekend was a 57.3 set by Glenn Allerton. So the pace has been absolutely on, exactly the same as what we saw with at Winton, Steve. But at Winton, the track had received some modifications. Here, there has been no track modifications apart from a couple of curves, which is not really going to affect the outright lap time.
Not really. These guys are just absolutely on the limit. They haven't ridden for a long time. These three bikes are basically new as well. You know, like the V4 Ducati's tuned up now. It's set up. The Honda's fairly well new this year. Only the one race last year. And boy, it's lifted the level.
Do you think Wayne Maxwell's relieved that all he can see is the person behind him is bike number 46 and not number 17 that he was expecting?
Well, he knows that 46 is, he knows he's there. Don't worry, 17 will be there. He knows that. He knows that Herfoss, towards the end of the race, needs to build up as much of a gap as he can, because that's when Herfoss should be strong.
So through Danice, we come down towards the bottom at Alpinestars. It is Herfoss looking increasingly keen to try and get up the inside, but Jones is riding a fantastic race. And we saw in race number one, he was great with his consistency, but he just had that one or two laps where he lost touch with the lead two.
Look, he's trying everything. He's got good drive out of the corners as Herfoss, but he just can't get up next to Mike Jones in the braking area. One of his favourite moves down into the Alpinestars fishhook there. He went to go then, but Jones just blocked that line off totally.
So Maxwell back into the 56s with a 56.967. Jones and Herfoss in the low 57s. Also in the low 57s, oh sorry, the 57s is Crew Halliday and Glenn Allerton. They're both doing 57.7s. But Maxwell, his last lap was only one 1,000th of a second off his fastest lap of the race.
It's a good ride by Glenn Allerton. He got a good start. Now he's caught up to Crew Halliday. He's behind Halliday now, so these guys are going to have a decent battle.
Well, they don't mind rubbing fairings with each other, these two. They've done it plenty of times over the years. They've been doing it earlier on this year at a night race at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Now, would they have been teammates at some point on a Superbike?
They were all in the Yamaha team,
That's
but
right.
I think Crew Halliday might have been riding the Supersport machine at the same time, because Glenn Allerton rode for the team Yamaha for quite a couple of years, but he has also won 2 of his championships with the Next Gen Motorsports crew that is now the Maxima BMW team.
Arthur Cece's there as well, just behind Ollie Bayless. Ollie didn't have a good run in race 1. Probably not, he won't be happy with where he is at the moment in 8th position, but it's always difficult when you don't get that race 1 under your belt, if you know what I mean, because you don't have those laps, whereas all these other guys have gone, oh yeah, if I change this, it'll be faster in race 2.
And we'll also be going into unknown territory because race 1 was stopped at about lap 15. So once we get into the last 5 laps, no one's actually going to know how their bike's going to start behaving and how their tyres will be working. To 1.6 1.3 seconds lead over Mike Jones. Now, I think Herfoss realises that if he's going to make a move to try and reel in Wayne Maxwell, he has to do it now. We're over half race distance. He can't do it at the bottom of the fishhook. Mike Jones is so late on the brakes. We know how late Troy Herfoss is at the bottom of the hill, but he just can't seem to get past the Queenslander on board bike number 46.
No, Mike is really, really good on the brakes, and Herfoss is going to get desperate now. But he's trying everything he can. You know, when he's got that foot out, that's pretty much on the limit. But Mike has just got that little bit more. Mike is a pretty slight guy as well, and he makes that V4 Panigale fly down the straight. Even the speed of the Honda can't get past it.
And that new Honda is fast with a capital F. We know that. It's all the power that Troy Herfoss has needed over the last couple of years. As he makes his way up towards the top of the hill. Now he's fast. Is he past? Can he hold it as they tip into the top of the hill? Oh, he's over the bumps, Troy Herfoss. I've seen him have a big crash there in years gone by, but he looked, considering how deep he was in there, he looked like he was on rails. That was incredible.
That was a pass and a half. That's now the pass of the day for the moment, because to do what he just did then, get on the gas that hard and just drive past, I reckon he's going to catch Maxwell up pretty easily.
Look at the gap he's put on Jones already in only a couple of corners. He's pulled out 4 bike lengths. I think Wayne Maxwell is about to get the signal from Dale operating the pit board that there is a very hard charging bike number 17 making his way forward. I wouldn't be surprised now if we see a succession of 56.9-minute laps from Troy Herfoss as he makes his way onto the start-finish straight. Maxwell comes across the line. His lead as they came across the line on that lap was 1.665 seconds. We'll keep our eye on that. A 57.3 for Maxwell, a 57.3. Here's a GoPro replay of that move from Troy Herfoss. That was just drive and determination up the hill, and then a very confident move into the Dunlop corner.
Well, he had to try it somewhere different. He tried his 2 favourite spots. It wasn't going to work for him.
We know that Maxwell's strong in intermediate number 1, and we know he's strong in intermediate number 3. But through that twisty section of the circuit is where the Honda will be able to put all of that power to the ground. What has he been able to do over the entire lap? Look how far Troy Herfoss is down underneath the paintwork on the Penrite Honda. He's almost got his helmet underneath the petrol cap.
And Wayne Maxwell was quicker that time round, a 57.2 versus 57.5 for Herfoss. Herfoss not fast enough if he wants to win this. Maxwell needs to hold it for another 2 laps. If he can hold that gap to 2 seconds for 2 more laps, he's just going to have to cruise for victory. This next 2 laps are critical.
Herfoss's foot was off the peg there. The bike was moving around as he got the power to the ground as he came through those very tricky right-handers, the double right-handers at the top of the circuit, through the AGV and Ducati corners as we come down now to the Alpinestars fishhook. Herfoss's bike looks to me to be really starting to move around, Steve. Or is that just increased aggression from Troy?
It's increased aggression because he can see this race slipping away from him now. He needs to give it everything right now. And we'll know this lap when we go over the finish line whether it's going to be enough, because that gap needs to come down to nearly a second. And I think it's more than that.
They come across the line. The lead for Wayne Maxwell is down to 1.6 seconds. It's been fractionally reduced. 0.3 of a second faster on that last lap was Herfoss. You can see the desperation is starting to work. He would have been informed of that by his pit crew as he came across the start-finish line. You can see the bumps there don't seem to be affecting Troy Herfoss's machine. The K-Tech suspension working to perfection as he comes down now through the Danish corner and towards the bottom of the hill. We'll keep our eye on the gap. It's down to 1.4 seconds at intermediate number 1.
Herfoss needs to be 0.3 of a lap quicker for the next 3 laps if he's got any chance. Whoa, big moment there by one of the Yamaha riders.
Through the Pirelli corner comes Troy Herfoss. Jones still hanging on to 3rd place. The gap back to Crew Halliday is over 7 seconds. Jones has got a comfortable 3rd place here if he can maintain this pace to get him to the start-finish line in 4 laps' time. We're coming around to complete 16 laps now of the 20-lap journey. The gap as they come across the line is 1.5 seconds. He's only taken a 10th out on that last lap, just over a 10th in fact. A 57.40 for Maxwell, a 57.277 for Herfoss, a 57.7 for Jones.
Well, he needs to dig deeper. If he's going to do it, he needs to dig deeper than that, because that's not fast enough. Bit of congestion there at the back. That's Phil Chai, and was that Brian Starring there just going through?
Yeah, but it was Ollie Bayless is ahead of Brian Starring. You can see the Desmo Sport Ducati bike number 32 just ahead there. Bayless doing a great job to get ahead of Lachlan Epps and also Brian Starring, and it's a repeat of what we saw at Winton.
Yeah.
On fire in the last race, getting faster and faster as we go through this race.
Yeah, good lap times from Ollie Bayless. It's a real pity he didn't finish that first race. but good that they fixed the bike.
So as we come down to complete lap 17, it is Maxwell that still leads. A 57.6 for Maxwell, a 57.2 for Herfoss. The gap down to 1.1 seconds. Perfect time to speak to Dion Coote is with Rihanna.
Yeah, he's very nervous and he's not taking his eyes off the track. Herfoss just done his quickest lap. Can he do it?
We've only got 3 laps to go, so fingers crossed.
That's all he's got to say, guys.
Not surprised, he's probably too busy biting his fingernails, but you said that he needed to take out 0.3 of a second per lap. That one was about 0.3 of a second. Look at the gap now, Steve, it's closed down. Herfoss is starting to try and hunt down Wayne Maxwell, and this is where Herfoss is good through this area of the circuit.
Maxwell is fighting that thing. He is giving it everything he's got now, and Herfoss is coming. He's going to take chunks out of him now. But he has to pass him when he gets there. On the last lap, it'll come down to, if it's going to happen, it'll happen on the last lap, and it ain't going to be easy.
There's a man with a lot of stress on his mind at the moment. You can just hear it come on as they go across the start-finish line. The gap is 0.865 of a second. It's under a second for the first time in many laps. Herfoss is on a charge. Maxwell hanging on desperately to the lead. A 57.4 for Maxwell on the last lap. A 57.1 for Herfoss.
Maxwell will be seeing the lap time come down too. On his pit board, he'll know that he's got company next time round because he's going to get +0 with coming into the final lap.
This is the penultimate lap of this 20-lap race. Maxwell has to get around this lap and maintain the lead over Herfoss for one 2.2 kilometre, 10-lap journey around Wakefield Park. It's going to be a hell of a ride. I hope everyone is sitting down. This is going to get exciting now.
Well, you need to be ready. We've got a back marker coming up as well. Let's hope that they get out of the way, because this is going to be very, very interesting. We know how hard it is to overtake here. We saw how long it took Herfoss to get past Mike Jones, so here we go.
Big moment for Maxwell there as he got on the brakes to tip into turn 1 for the first time. The Boost Mobile Racing with machine was all over the show, but Maxwell managed to hold on. Herfoss drives up the hill. We are on the last lap. There is only 8 corners to go now. Maxwell fighting to try and hold off Troy Herfoss. You know he's going to have a go, Steve Martin. I reckon bottom of the hill, Troy Herfoss is going to have the massive lunge at the bottom of Alpinestars.
Maxwell's smart. He's got to close that down. He'll know to close that down, and he does, but he leaves a gap. Herfoss looks up the inside. Herfoss is through. Herfoss is through. Maxwell on the cutback.
He stood Maxwell up. Maxwell lost a lot of drive, and Herfoss now leads as they come through the penultimate turn out onto the straight for the final time. I don't think Maxwell can come back from here. It's going to have to be deep. It's going to have to be late. Herfoss has gone in narrow. Is he going to have to drive? As Maxwell played it smart and gone around the outside, he'll get good drive. As they come to the line, it's going to be a slipstream. I think Herfoss may just hang on.
This is going to be
Maxwell
close.
Comes to the inside, and Herfoss gets it. He gets it by a very, very small margin. 0.086 of a second. Unfortunately, Maxwell wasn't smart enough.
That was a fabulous, fabulous race.
That was just unbelievable, and that is typical what we've come to expect from these two over the last couple of years. Congratulations to Troy Herfoss, an unbelievable ride. We thought he was too far back. We thought he might have left himself with too much work to do. But no, the governor of Goulburn, the wizard of Wakefield Park, was on fire, and he has done exactly what this crowd has expected him to come and do.
What a race. Look, they're having another chat now. They did get to duke it out.
Well, congratulations to those two. Congratulations to Mike Jones as well. A sensational ride in 3rd position, and he'll take solid championship points. Wayne Maxwell will go away knowing that he was the fastest rider on track, but over race distance, he unfortunately just came up 0.086 of a second short, but he will take the round victory, his 2nd round victory of a row.
That is special. Stopping on the track to have a chat.
That's mutual respect.
Absolute mutual respect. Either one of those could have won that. And we've seen it time and time again. It's one apiece for the last 2 meetings now.
That's the hardest earn I've ever seen, Steve. That was incredible. That was back to Mike Jones earning his championship in 2019 over Herfoss at Sydney Motorsport Park. It was exactly the same intensity, and Herfoss once again has proven that he is never going to give up, and we said it was at the bottom of Alpinestars that he'd be having a go. He proved us right. It's his favourite place to put an overtaking manoeuvre on, and it was an absolute pearler.
It's now time to speak to our race winners for the Alpinestars Superbike class. In third place, Mike Jones. Mike, you got them on the start, but didn't quite have enough to hang on at the end there. Congratulations on third place.
Yeah, thanks very much. The start was incredible. You know, obviously to come from third position and lead into the first turn there was fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I really tried my best to, once Wayne went past me, try my best to hang on onto him. But felt for me it became a little bit more difficult as the race went on, and obviously Troy got past me there as well. And big congrats to him, because that was an unbelievable ride for him to come across to the win. So big congrats to him. But special thanks to the Desmo Sport Ducati team. We've worked at 100% all weekend, and yeah, got to be very happy to finish on the podium.
Congratulations, 2 podiums for you this weekend, Mike Jones, and taking out second place. There are not enough words to describe the battles between him and Troy Herfoss at the moment. Congratulations, Wayne Maxwell. You must be out of breath. We're all out of breath. It was unbelievable to watch.
Oh, amazing. It's such a, I was sort of thinking to myself, I was seeing the lap time coming down a little bit. I seen Mike was there, was growing, then I was like, oh, 17, I better just keep nailing the lap here. Got caught out a little bit of lappers, lost like 4/10 that lap, and it's hard to get back in the rhythm when you've got like a little bit of arm pump and you're blowing pretty hard. So yeah, it's hard to get back in the rhythm, but we sort of did, and yeah, look, it's given by Troy around here. I've always said that's not so bad. If I can sort of see him at the end, that's pretty good. So I'm happy with that. My guys, unbelievable. You know, as I said, Winton was a struggle for us. Come here, I knew if we could leave here without losing any points, and we gained 1. So full credit to the Boost Mobile team, racing with K-Tech. They've done a fantastic job. Our partner Pirelli, unbelievable. Like, yeah, to back us, their enthusiasm and stuff towards trying to make something better, and yeah, make my last year memorable and win another championship. So it's not really all about me. There's plenty of guys in Pirellis, but yeah, I'm loving the experience through that.
You're in a pretty good purple patch at the moment. Congratulations, Wayne Maxwell, the man of the moment, hit the parade lap to celebrate a victory that was very, very worthy. Congratulations, Troy Herfoss. I'm not going to speak. I'm just going to let you do the talking. That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks very much. Like, I usually always like fight to the end. Like, I think I can win it, but there was honestly a few laps in the middle there when I got past Mike. I was really struggling in the lefts here with grip, and that's it. I don't want to do what I done at Winton. I'm going to have to settle for second here, and it sort of stayed the same. I was really strong over the top of the track, and Wayne was really strong around the last little bit, and like I can't even remember some of the race now, because but I knew, like, in race 1, like, the reason I was upset we couldn't go to the end was, like, I knew I wasn't fast enough today to show him anything, and that's why I was sitting behind him in race 1. I felt like I could pass him in some areas, but, you know, if I showed him what I was doing, he was going to be better than me in that certain part of the track. So that explains why when I passed him, I was literally on the inside line, because he was so strong into that last turn and off it. I was not only worried about getting past on the way in, I was worried to get past on the way out. But I just want to say a big congratulations to Wayne. It's not the end of the year, but since 2014, him and I have gone toe-to-toe around here, and it's a bit sad to think that's our last little battle around Wakefield.
But it was a battle to end all battles. Congratulations, Troy Herfoss, and congratulations to all the Alpinestars Superbike competitors, Troy Herfoss, Wayne Maxwell and Mike Jones.
Congratulations to Troy Herfoss, Penrite Honda, all of the team, Michelin. They've done a great job here this weekend, but Wayne Maxwell will take the round win and maintain the championship lead. In fact, he's increased it by 1 point this weekend. He now leads by 10 points over Troy Herfoss, 91 to 81. Mike Jones in a solid third place on 74. Crew Halliday in fourth on 65. Incidentally, he's also his racing number. Glenn Allerton, 64 in fifth place. Brian Starring in sixth. Metzer, Arthur CC's Ollie Bayless, and Matt Walters on the Rover Coaches Kawasaki Connection. Kawasaki ZX10 round out the top 10. Down to Rihanna.
Thanks very much, Phil. Steve Martin, do you have a voice? Do you have any words left after that?
My only word, and I don't even know if it is a word, is incredibleness. Because everything about today was just fantastic and unbelievable. We've seen some incredible racing. We've seen some brilliant performances. We've seen in every race somebody that you didn't think could win won.
Yeah, and just the times that these guys are setting. Plus, we've had crowd here, which is absolutely fantastic. We've had beautiful beautiful weather. Everything has just been absolutely spectacular. And our next event, we go north. We head up to Darwin. I'm really looking forward to that, Steve. I bet you are too.
Well, I'm going to pack me bathers, so that'll be scary. But I am really looking forward to getting up there with the V8 supercars, and it's going to be a spectacular show.
They're certainly looking forward to getting up to Darwin. Thanks, Steve, for all your work, and of course, thank you very much to our series commentator, Phil Harland. In the meantime, head to the ASBK website to keep up to date with all the information and across all of our social platforms, Facebook and Instagram. Look forward to bringing you all the action from Darwin in a few weeks' time.